Crystal meth continues to be the drug of choice in Hawaii. In fact, Hawaii led the nation last year in methamphetamine abuse. Today on The Balanced Voice, we welcome a man whose life trajectory was turned upside down after his very first use of crystal meth.
Everybody was addicted to crystal meth. And I've been offered numerous times, Kyle, welcome home. Smoke this with us. Wherever I went, no, I'm good. But that's not how I was raised. Yeah. So one day I was at the beach. I was surfing. I put my surfboard in the back of the truck and turn around. One of my best friends had the crystal meth pipe in his hand. And he said, bro, come on, bro. For the boys. I said, you know what? Let's go. And I remember blowing out the crystal meth smoke for the first time. When I blew out the crystal meth smoke, I blew out everything that was instilled in me. Everything that my grandpa put in my heart, in my soul, was gone. I instantly became an addict, and I did what was necessary to fuel my addiction.
Kyle Quilausing went from being a successful young golfer, even competing with Tiger Woods, to being widely known as Hawaii's most wanted for the terror he brought upon his homeland. Join us for this two-part series that takes us on a roller coaster from young success to addiction to incarceration and all the way back around to humility. Without further ado, here's your host, Renya Mankarios.
Welcome to the Balanced Voice podcast. We are always thrilled to have our guests, but this week's guest story is particularly moving for me. Kyle Quilausing is joining us from Hawaii. Kyle, welcome.
Aloha, and mahalo for having me, and I'm grateful to be here today.
Oh my goodness, Kyle, we're so happy to have you. As I was saying before we jumped on to the recording, we've interviewed so many unbelievable people for this podcast, but watching your story and hearing you retell it literally moved me to tears for a few reasons. You know, we are a public safety, law and order organization. And people think, you know, we're very tough on crime. But when I was hearing about your story and just all that you went through, you know, it just sounds the alarm and makes us look at the other side of what criminal justice looks like. And many important questions need to be asked. But before we dive into any of that, start from the beginning, Kyle. Tell us about your life in the early years.
So, aloha, everyone. My name is Kyle. I was born and raised on the Big Island in a town called Hilo. And my parents got divorced when I was 3 years old. And because of that divorce, I moved in with my grandfather and my grandmother. And just so happens, my grandfather was the chief of police. His name was George Martin. And everybody in the community knew my grandpa because, like I said, he was the chief. And he was my mentor, and I looked up to him. And he taught me everything that a child needed to be a responsible adult. He taught me etiquette. He taught me manners. He taught me love. He taught me respect. He taught me every good thing that a child needs. And just so happened, my grandpa lives right on the side of a golf course. And it wasn't too long before he taught me how to play golf. So every day he would come home from work and he would grab my hand as a little child at 3 and 4, and he would take me onto the golf course. And I remember watching my grandpa hit a golf ball for the first time. And I was like amazed. And I'm grateful that my grandpa taught me the game of golf and instilled the love of golf into me at a young age. And long story short, at the age of 10 years old, he signed me up for my first state tournament. So the best golfers in the state of Hawaii would come and they'll play golf. And just so happens that tournament was the one by his house. So he told me, he used to call me son. He said, son, I signed you up for your first golf tournament and I feel that you're ready. And I was like, what? I was kind of nervous a little bit. He told me, don't worry, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to walk with you by your side and we're going to enter this tournament and you do your best. So I said, okay. So at 10 years old, my first tournament was on state championship and I won. I came first place and I was ranked the best in the state at 10 years old. And I remember my grandpa telling me he was so proud of me, and I was happy because I made him proud because I looked up to him. And there's a little stone wall that separates his yard from the golf course. I would jump over that wall and I'll be in a golf course. I would jump back over, I'll be at home. So that's how close the golf course was. And after I won the state title, I was like amazed. And I put in plenty work, a lot of work after that championship. And I started winning and winning and winning and winning. And I qualified for a tournament called the Junior World Tournament in California, Anaheim, California. And that's called the Junior World Championships. So the top 2 golfers from each state qualify and they go to California and they play for the Worlds. I represented Hawaii. And just so happens Tiger Woods represented his state. And we all got together. The best kids from the states qualified. And that's the first time I met Eldrick Tiger Woods. He was 9 years old and I was 10 years old. And I remember it was a 3-day tournament. And the first 2 days I was in the lead. And the last day of the tournament there's a lot of cameras and news people, and was a big event. That's why. And I wasn't used to that. And the last day I didn't do too well. Tiger Woods won. He came first. I came fourth.
But fourth, like in the world for golf.
The world. Yeah, because I had people from all over the world came. And I tried my best and I came fourth in the world. So at 10 years old, I was a state champion and ranked fourth in the world at 10. And
you talk in listening to you speak that you went home from that tournament and you sat on that wall between your grandfather's house and you made a promise to yourself. And I love hearing you talk about the fact that you made this promise and you straight into high school. It was wake up in the morning, play golf, go to school, do good grades, eat well, work out, come home, play golf again, do your homework. You were such a straight-laced kid, such a good kid.
Yes, I was. And I remember coming home and sitting on that wall, like you said, and I made a promise to myself that I made a goal for myself that I was going to win everybody in junior golf. I was going to go to high school, win everybody in high school. I was going to graduate. I was going to go to college, graduate college, and turn pro and buy me a mansion. And that's the goal I set for myself at 10 years old. And I was doing it. I was staying focused. And all my friends used to go ride bikes and go to the river and go to the beach. And not me. I would come home and I would do my homework and golf all the way till the sun went down. And I would come home and I would eat and I would shower and do the same thing, repeat. And I started winning everybody. And people in my community started telling me, Kyle, you keep this up, you're going to be famous. Kyle, you keep this up, you're going to fulfill your goal. You're going to be rich. You're going to be a millionaire. You're going to be famous. People started planting that seed into my head. And I stayed focused. And we go to my high school years. I already won 6 state titles already up to high school. And my high school, all my friends was experimenting in drugs and alcohol and cigarettes. And I stayed away from that. That was still my friends. But I just needed to stay focused because I know in order for me to be a professional golfer, I needed to be physically strong. And drugs and cigarettes would only bring me down. So I stayed focused. And my high school year, I had honor roll student, A's and B's. I never get in trouble, nothing, just A's and B's and golf. And one day I was in my senior year of high school at 6 months to graduation. I had numerous college offers, scholarships in the mail. You'd open my mailbox every day would be full of schools reaching out to me. But one day I was debating which school to go through with my grandpa and my mom and stuff, looking through all these envelopes, but I didn't make a choice yet. And one day I was in class, my senior year, 6 months to graduation, just thinking of all the schools. I hear my name called on the PA system in my class, and it said, Kyle Quilausing, please report to the office. And I knew it wasn't something bad because I never get in trouble. And so I went to the office and I opened the door and I saw my principal and a man that I never did see before in my life. He stood up. I stood up. He introduced himself and he said, Kyle, I've been following you. I've been watching you. And I'm here to offer you a full ride scholarship when you graduate. And I stand up and shake his hand. And the reason why I agreed to that, because he was the first one that showed by coming in person to flying to Hawaii. So that made a big decision with me. This guy took the time for come to Hawaii. So I went with him and I shake his hand and I said, thank you so much. I see you in 6 months. Boom. And right there, right in that office, everything that I worked hard for, the goal I set at 10 years old, everything was in motion. All I got to do now is go college, 4 years, graduate, and I'm going to turn pro. I did everything else already so far. So I walked out of the office thinking about 4 more years. I'm going to graduate college. I'm going to be on pro. I'm going to have a mansion. I'm almost there. But I got conceited and my head got full, big with pride. And I became somebody that I wasn't. Because everybody was telling me, oh, you're going to be famous, bro. You're going to be rich. You're going to be famous. You're going to be a millionaire, Kyle. And then me at 17 years old, hearing everybody say that, I was believing that. And I had 6 months of graduation. The mentality I now had was, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be rich. Nobody can tell me nothing because I'm going to be in a mansion. So I remember being in class, like 1 week later, I was sitting down in class and I seen this pretty girl walk in. And I never did have the courage to talk to her, but now I just got one full ride scholarship and now I get ammunition. So I went up to this girl and I said, oh, I got a full ride scholarship last week. I'm going to go to college and I'm going to be rich, bro. And the bell rang to start the class. And I remember I was still talking to the girl and the teacher was a man. He said, Kyle, you never hear the bell. Go sit down. With respect, he told me. I look at him and I said, bro, who you for telling me what to do? You just some teacher, bro. I'm going to be a millionaire, bro. Don't tell me what to do, you heard. Trying to impress the girl. Trying to impress my peers. Let my peers know that that's what you can do when you're rich. And he said, what you said? I said, you heard, bro. Don't tell me what to do. He said something. I said something. I was in art class. We was working with ceramic, with clay. I remember I pick up one big pile of clay and I whip them as hard as I could at him. And I remember him running out of the class, yelling. He was scared. And then I remember the kids was like laughing and I was laughing with them. And next thing you know, I see 2 big Hawaiian security guards at the door calling my name, Kyle. I look up at them. They came in their class and they grabbed me by my arm and then walked me out. And they took me to the office where I was 1 week ago. But this time in the office, there was the principal and the teacher. And the principal looked at me, he's shaking his head, and he said, Kyle, I get some bad news for you, bro. The teacher told him he don't like be at that campus teaching if I there. So the principal told me, see that phone on my desk? I said, yeah. Pick them up, call somebody for pick you up because they're kicking you out, bro. What you did was extreme, and that was assault. And call somebody, bro, because you're out here.
I can't imagine, Kyle. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I can't imagine. You've worked so hard. You're a perfect student. You definitely messed up. But where was like the grace of, Kyle, there's disciplinary action.
I think it was because I threw that one object and that was assault. And the teacher was scared. And I get emotional talking about it to this day because that hit me.
Yeah.
So I was pleading with the teacher. I'm so sorry. I'm so trying to impress the girl. 6 months I leave and I'm sorry, bro. He never like nothing for do with me, bro. The principal said, sorry, bro. So I pick up the phone. I call my mom. I said, Ma. She said, yeah, son. She said, you got to come pick me up. I said, why? I said, I got kicked out. She said, what? She came within 5 minutes. She went in. She said, wait right here. She went in the office. I thought everything was going to be okay. No. She pleaded with him too. And I had to go and I got kicked out. But God is good, bro. God is good. And we went in a car. I remember that car ride home. My mom was telling me, son, you're so stupid, bro. You're so dumb, son. What you gonna do now? I don't know, bro. And all I know is golf. That's all I know. I know how to get A's and B's, be respectful, and hit one golf ball 300 yards. That's all I know. Because I put so much into golf. I never take that time for learn anything. I never take that time for try anything else in life because golf was my bread and butter. So
you're with your mom.
Yeah.
You're driving now.
Yeah.
You talk a lot about how you went from Kyle, this star. Everybody's so proud of you. Everybody's so excited to see you become famous, to Kyle. How could you have made this decision? You choose to leave Hawaii. You're 18 years old at this point. Your friends are starting their lives. You go to Alaska. You stay in Alaska for a few years. You decide, no, I'm coming back to Hawaii. What's so unbelievable is you talk about coming back to Hawaii and you're faced with this crystal meth epidemic. Everybody's doing drugs. And this is what you walked back to as a young adult with 3 kids at this point, making your life again in Hawaii.
Yeah. So news travels fast in Hawaii. We call that coconut wireless. Mm-hmm. So when I got expelled from school, everybody knew what happened to me. I would go to the supermarket with my mom. People would come out to me and say, oh, Kai, we heard what happened. You're so dumb, bro. You had no future, bro. You dumb. Wherever I went, dumb or stupid. That's how people was calling me. And I knew I messed up. And I just turned 18 years old and I couldn't handle the other people calling me dumb and stupid. So I made one choice. I said, Ma, I got to get out of here, Ma. Because it was overwhelming for me. And she said, well, where you go? I told her, I'll go Alaska. She said, who you know in Alaska, son? I said, nobody. That's the farthest place I knew. That's the most different place from Hawaii. That's why I'm going. She said, son, you better think about this. And if I buy you a ticket, you better not call me back and tell me you're stuck. You understand, son? I said, I understand. I'll let go. So she bought me a one-way ticket, dropped me off at the airport, and I left. But I tell you something right now, when I hit Alaska, nobody even call me stupid. Nobody even call me dumb. Nobody. And I was happy. Nobody knew I golfed with Tiger Woods. Nobody knew I was a 6-time state champ. Nobody knew nothing. And I was happy. And me, I'm a local boy. I'm an island boy. I live Hawaii all my life. 5 years in Alaska was a little bit too much for me already. So the time came. I had 3 beautiful kids. And one of them was 3. And I had twins. They was like 6 months old. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night in Alaska. And I told my girlfriend at the time, I said, I'm going home. I taking my 3 kids and I'm going home. And she said, no, you are home. I said, no, this is not my home. Hawaii is my home. And it was this sudden. Everything in my life was sudden. Boom. And I said, when you're ready, you come to Hawaii and everything will be ready. My sister flew out from Hawaii, helped me with my sons. I flew back home to Hawaii, right into the crystal meth epidemic. And I am 24 years old. 24 years old. I still don't drink beer. I still don't smoke cigarette. I still don't do drugs, nothing. And I reach home and the island is full of crystal meth. Full of crystal meth. Wherever I went, my best friends that I had growing up, I'm looking at them now face to face and they look like one skeleton. They look ugly. Everybody, wherever I went was ugly, physically ugly. And I found out was crystal meth. Everybody was addicted to crystal meth. And I've been offered numerous times, Kyle, welcome home. Smoke this with us. No, I'm good. Wherever I went, no, I'm good. Because that's not how I was raised. Yeah, I was an athlete, and my grandpa was raised on one good young adult. But it was just a matter of time. I only can say no so much. Yeah. So one day I was at the beach. I was surfing. I put my surfboard in the back of the truck and turn around. One of my best friends had the crystal meth pipe in my hand, in his hand. And he said, bro, come on, bro, for the boys. I said, you know what? Let's go. So I never know how to do him. The pipe went in my mouth. He make the lighter. I inhale. And I remember blowing out the crystal meth smoke for the first time. When I blew out the crystal meth smoke, I blew out everything that was instilled in me. Everything that my grandpa put in my heart, in my soul, was gone instantly. And I instantly became an addict. And I did what was necessary to fuel my addiction. I terrorized my home of Hawaii, where I was once looked as the kid that's going to be one golf superstar. Now I am an addict terrorizing my home, burglarizing anyone I could, stealing everything I could, trucks, cars, homes, stores, anything of value. I took them. And I live on an island. It was just a matter of time before they started putting me on the news. Kyle Quilausing. We need the public's assistance. Please don't try and apprehend Kyle. Call 911, this and that. Armed and dangerous. And I brought a lot of shame to my family, including myself, my grandpa. And I've been labeled many things while on my addiction. I've been labeled Hawaii's Most Wanted. I've been labeled a one-man crime wave. And I did plenty bad things. And
you ended up, you talk about getting arrested. You're on an island. As you've said, there's so many places you can go.
Yep.
You were 98 pounds.
98 pounds.
You were sent to jail, but you escaped. You actually escaped to go get another fix. You're addicted to crystal meth. They find you again.
Yeah. So the day they caught me, I was 29 years old, 98 pounds, full-blown crystal meth addict, Hawaii's Most Wanted. And when they got me into custody for the first time, they put me back on the news to let the public know that I'm in custody and you guys can relax now. We got them. Because everybody was on edge when I was free and on my addiction. Everybody was on edge. And the police department, I heard they had a party and they put me in the paper, the front page, and they put the big catch captured. So everybody was happy. The police department was happy. The community was happy. Everyone. And this is my first time I ever got arrested in my life. And now they took me to the Hilo jail right by my house, right down the street. And at that time, the jail was overcrowded with people, 3 to a cell, this, that. So they made a makeshift room, one old cafeteria. They put 40 of us in there with mattresses. And at the top of this building, there was a skylight, like 40 feet up, one window, one triangle little window of a light. So like 3 months into jail, all I did was eat and sleep because there's 2 things that I did not do. So I started doing push-ups and stuff. I got physically strong, but my addiction was so strong in my mouth. My addiction was stronger than me. So I remember looking at that skylight and telling one of my friends that I met in there that I need to smoke crystal meth. He said, bro, get that thought out of your mind, bro. You're in jail now. I said, no. You see that skylight way up there? He said, yeah. I'm going to escape tonight through that window. He said, how you going to go up way up there? I said, no worry, bro. So I had in Hawaii, you either surf or you want cowboy. As is the mountain and the ocean. So I had panic cowboy friends that I knew in that building. So I asked them, "What, you guys can make me one rope out of all these sheets?" Had like 40 mattresses with sheets on top. They said, "We can make you one rope." And in jail at that time, Patty bad people, inmates, would respect me for what I did, all the bad stuff. So people in jail would jump for me, like, "Oh, this guy did that and that and that and that." So when I asked them to make me one rope, fast, they was kicking everybody off their bed, grabbing sheets, making braids, making me on rope. Okay, we get the rope. What you need me to do? I said, "See that light 20 feet up? Yeah, I need you to lasso that light." "You can do that." "I can do that." And this is cowboys now. That's what they do. Makeshift rope, boom, lasso the light. I climb up the rope, I grab onto the light, grab onto a piece of wood, make my way up, Hawaiian, like a ninja warrior, all the way to the top. Now I'm 40 feet up, dangling on a 2x4 with my elbow. I bust the window with my elbow and I squeeze my way out onto the roof, jump off the roof, and I was gone. So now Kyle Quilausing, the big catch that was once captured, is free again. And the police department put me back on the news and said, "Kyle is out. You guys beware." But this time was different. Now the FBI got involved because I want escape fugitive now. Wasn't fun. And 12 days, I was on my escape, 3 high-speed chases, and they caught me again. Because where I gonna run? I live on an island. So 12 days later, they recaptured me and they took me back to the same Hilo jail that I escaped from. They shackled me up from head to toe in chains. And they sat me down at this desk with another speakerphone on the desk. And the guard called this prison on Oahu called Halawa Correctional Facility. And this prison, Halawa Correctional Facility, is nicknamed Thunderdome because all they do is fight in Halawa. And Halawa is now in good place. So now I stay back from my escape. I'm sitting shackled down, head to toe in chains, on next to one correctional officer on the phone calling Halawa. And I heard somebody on the other end answer the phone. "Halawa Correctional Facility." The guard next to me started talking and he said, "Hey, how's it? We get one guy over here. His name is Kyle Quilausing and he on punk. We just caught him from his escape." "Oh, the guy was on the news." "Yeah, he right here with us. And we're going to send him to you guys, bro, this afternoon because he went punk. We cannot handle him." And I heard from the speakerphone, I heard somebody's voice on the other end say, "Kyle." I never answer. And a guard on the side of me said, "You better answer, bro." I said, "Yeah." "Hey, Kyle, we heard you the punk from Big Island and they cannot handle you over there, yeah?" "Huh. Okay, we see you in a little bit, bro. Get ready, Kyle." And the phone didn't hang up. I don't know what for expect. So right from that seat, it stood me up, took me outside in a van. They flew me to the airport, put me on a plane by myself, and they flew me to Halawa Correctional Facility on the island of Oahu, where I was met by 6 guards, big ones, 6 big Polynesian guards waiting for me, the welcoming committee for Kyle Quilausing, the punk from Big Island. And they said, "Oh, welcome to Halawa, bro. I hope you're ready, Kyle." So they escort me in chains. They walk me to this place called the SHU, SHU, Special Holding Unit, aka the hole. Yeah. So they took me to the hole. They opened up one cell. The cell was 7x7. They put me in the cell and then closed the door. So now I'm in Halawa Correctional Facility in the SHU, in the hole, by myself. And I looking around in my cell and all I see is on toilet and on sink. That's it. And I look ahead of me, I see on window and I see outside and I see green valley, some valley, Halawa Valley. And I looking out the window, just wondering, "Oh, what's happening?" Next thing you know, I see two guards on the other side of the window, ground floor, looking at me. And I'm looking at them like, oh, why are these guys outside my window? They had a paint can in their hand. And they started painting the window from the top, black. And they're making their way down. And they're waving at me. Next thing you know, gone. My whole window was black. They black out my window because of the punk from Big Island. And I was in that 7x7 cell for 3 years.
Thank you for tuning in to part 1 of Kyle Quilausing's story. We hope you will join us next week for a continuation of how his journey turned from tragedy to redemption. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in to today's Balanced Conversation. You can find real solutions and tangible resources in our show notes at thebalancedvoicepodcast.com. To join the conversation, follow us on Instagram at The Balanced Voice Podcast and on Twitter at @balancedvoice_. Stay up to date on Runya's work by following her at The Runya Report, and we can't wait to see you next week for another Balanced Conversation.